So I hope everybody can see the screen. Can you see the
Yes,
screen?
ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
in yesterday's class, I was discussing about the concept of del, right? So
Yes,
del method is there, which is actually a method opposite to your init method. So I'll just show you how to use this. It's an inbuilt method. Del is an inbuilt method. So if you need it, you will be using this method. Okay, very fine. Okay, so I'm taking a class. So I'm simply taking a class. I'm not writing anything in it, but I'll just show you how to use the del keyword. Okay, fine. So inside the class, I'm not writing anything. If you want to, you can actually declare some variables and work out. To just demonstrate this, I think I don't need anything in the class. Okay, so I said O1 is equal to A of this function parameters. So when you make the class as a function, so it becomes the call to the constructor. So init method is automatically called. I don't need that. I didn't write an init method inside. Okay, fine. So I'm having another variable, another object. I'm creating another object. So how many objects I have created? Two objects I have created. I'm printing the information of the objects. So I am saying O1 is equal to, so I just want to print the description of the object O1. So I just have written something like this, and this is the description regarding, I just want the description regarding O. So let me execute and show you this. So girls, you can see, can you see it on the screen, everybody? So you can see on the screen, like I got some description about the object O1 and object O2. So first it is telling me in which module this object is there. So this object is there in the main module. So it is giving me this underscore underscore main underscore underscore. So this is the name of the module. So you can see main.py, right? So it is in the main module, and A is the class name. So here you can see this is the class name, A is the class name. So this object is related to the main module, and inside the main module there is a class A. So this is class A, and O1 is of type object. So this is the type of this particular O1. O1 is of type object, and this hexagonal this hexadecimal representation over here is the address where this O1 is residing inside your Python memory. Okay, so in the similar way, like you have got the description regarding O2, like the module is main and the class is A, and this is of type object, and this hexadecimal code represents the address where this object O2 is residing in the Python memory. So this is regarding the object's description. Now I want to delete a particular object. So I'm saying del O1. Okay, so O1 is deleted, and let me run this and show you what happens. So you cannot see any description regarding the object being deleted or nothing. You don't get any acknowledgement that O1 is deleted or nothing, or something happened to O1. Nothing of that sort you can see on the screen. But if I try to print the description of O1 after deleting O1, so let us check what happens. Okay, so you can see very clearly that you got a name error, which is telling that name O1 is not defined. Okay, so in the previous case, O1 still exists in the memory. So it is giving me the information regarding O1, where it resides and all that, in which module, in which class and all that. But after performing the delete operation and del of O1 object, when I try to access O1, it is giving me a name error. So is this clear with everyone what is del?
yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes. Okay, now what is the purpose of this del method is inside your class, like you can see that you want certain information to be printed. Like in the previous case, when I didn't have this print statement and all that, what happened? Nothing is visible to me on the screen. I'm not able to see anything on the screen regarding this del operation. So everything is blank, and sometimes maybe you want certain description to be printed on the screen, so that it will be useful to you in your application or further development and all that. In that case, what you can do is you can take that del method, which is underscore underscore del and underscore underscore. Okay, so this is the method. So inside this method, self is mandatory. So I'm writing self over here, And here you can write whatever you want inside this del method. Okay, so you can say print, and you can say object is deleted. Okay, so you can say object is gone out of scope because you are deleting it. So I'm just saying object gone out of scope. Okay, so I just have written something like this. Okay, object gone out of scope. And so now let me show you. Let me run this and show you. So you can see that I got certain description for this del. Okay, so in the previous case, when I have not written anything for inside the class, when I have not written anything, it just have given me a blank screen wherein I didn't get any information regarding what happened to this O1. But here, since I have overridden this del method and I am writing whatever I want inside this del method, so that is shown on the screen. Like I can see that object gone out of scope. Okay, so did I make an explicit call to the del method here? I didn't make any explicit call. It is internally, it is automatically called. Okay, so when you're writing del method inside your program, the preference will be given to the code that you have written. So this method will be called, and it will tell that object whatever you have written inside that will be executed. Okay, so this is regarding your del method, which is an opposite of your init method. I hope everybody understood this. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So now let us look into another concept wherein I have discussed about repo method, which is REPR, and also STR method. Both the methods are inbuilt methods which are actually used to return the printable string representation of a given object. Okay. And the syntax is like for repr, REPR, it is REPR, and then you pass the object into it, and for string str, and you pass the object into it. Now let me show you how they work. Okay, so say for example, I'm saying s is equal to, so I have Sudha here, and so s is an object, right? So you can say Sudha is an object and s is referring to this particular object Sudha. And so I want to print it, so I'm saying print, and I want to print the string format of s. So I have given str of s, and then I am saying repo and repr s. Okay, so let me show you the execution, run this code and show you the execution. So you can see that in the first case, this is the object representation, string representation of s in using str built-in function. So you can see Sudha is printed wherein there are no single quotes. Listen to me very carefully, girls, because this kind of questions you will be getting in placements wherein they'll be giving output like this. Okay, so you will be getting confused for what there will be single quotes and for what they won't be single quotes. For str, you won't be having a single quotes. Okay, for repr, you will be getting single quotes in the output. So maybe this information that you are seeing on the screen is not very useful to you. So you want certain other information. Say I'm having so I'll be just writing an init method here, wherein I'm taking two instance variables. Okay, so the first one is of course will be self, and the second one is v1 comma v2. So I'm taking two variables over here, and then I'm saying self dot v1 is equal to v1 um, v1, and then I'm saying self dot v2 is equal to v2. So wherein I'm having two instance variables, and here I'm passing the values of the two instance variables. The first one I'm saying Sudha, and then I'm saying 12, and so this is regarding the object. Okay, so now I am printing O1. So what happens is I'll be getting the same information. So if you don't want the same information to be printed, rather than that, you want, whenever I say O1, if you want the information about the instance variables or anything pertaining to the object inside the class, you can actually override the repo method. Okay, so which is a built-in method again, which is used to convert, which is used to show the, okay, return the printable representation of an object. So I'm saying this is the repo method, and wherein I'm saying self over here. And now what I'm doing is I'm saying return. Okay, so I'll simply say return, and then you can written whatever you want. Okay, so wherein I'm saying written name is then I'm saying less self dot v1, right? V1 is the name, so I'm saying self dot v1, and then I'm saying plus. Okay, so then I'm saying marks or whatever. Okay, so marks are, then I'm putting a plus, and then I'm saying self dot. Okay, so what is it? This self dot v2. Okay, fine. So I'm just returning something over here. So let us try to execute this and see. Okay, what we'll do is, so this v2 should be a string type. So I'll be making it string type. Okay, fine. So you can see girls over here. So I'm getting name is Sudha and marks are 12. Okay. When I didn't write this repo method, what was the answer? If I just have printed O1, what was the answer? So it is
Hexadecimal, ma'am.
somehow hexadecimal address and some underscore underscore main and all that. But now, did you make an explicit call to the repo method here? No, right? So internally, automatically the repo method is called. Whenever you want to print the object information, internally the repo method will be called. Okay, so if you want a more meaningful answer to be printed on the screen, you can actually override the repo method. So we have written something like this. Whatever you want to print on the screen, you can actually write it in the repo method, and that will be printed on the screen for you. Okay, so I just wanted some information to be printed like this, so I just got it. Okay, fine. Hope you understood what is repo, everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Even if you give explicitly make a repo call like this, so I just have given REPR and I'm making an explicit call over here. Even if you make an explicit call or you don't make an explicit call, internally this repo method will be called. Okay, so you don't need to make a call. Obviously, whenever you want to print the description about the object, the repo method will be called. Okay, so this is regarding your repo method. So in the similar way, you can also override either REPR or you can also have str. Okay, so when I use str, you can see the same answer is printed. Okay, so REPR and str both are used to print the object information in the string format. Okay, right. So I hope it is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's move into the concept of public and private data members. So let me take two variables. So I'm taking two variables v1 and v2. So here I'm going to demonstrate the public and private variables. So when I have not given anything in front of this v1, okay, so these two are the public variables. Okay, so they are public data members of the class. Now I want to make them one as public and the other one is the private. Okay, so public and private data members. So I'm showing you a program wherein there will be public and also private. Okay, so I have v1 and v2 over here in the init method. So the first one is the public method. I'll keep it as it is, and the second one is the private one. So you can very clearly see that this underscore underscore v2 is the private data member. Okay, so this is the private data member. Private data member. Okay, and what is v1? V1 is the public data member.
Public data.
Okay, so this is public data member. Now let us try to access them. Okay, so let us try to access the public member and the private member. So I'm taking off this method over here and I'll just keep the display method. So display method is an instance method. So I'm just keeping the display method, and inside the display method, I'll be printing the values of the public method and the private method. So I'm saying print. So let me be more specific. So I'm saying inside class. So this is inside the class wherein I am saying inside class V1. V1 is public, right? So you will be knowing that. So I'm saying self dot V1. Okay, so this is inside the class. In the similar way, I'll be writing, I'll be printing the value of V2 also. So from within the class, okay, so from within the class wherein this is the private member, so I need to give underscore underscore. Okay, so private members will be having two underscores in the beginning, so you should not forget. Okay, so that is an indication in like in Java and all that. What we'll do is we'll be writing private keyword. You'll be writing private keyword. Okay, so I'll say private int x. Okay, so x is equal to 20 or whatever. So I'll be using the private keyword to actually represent a variable to be private. But here in Python, we are actually giving two underscores. Okay, so two underscores represents that it is private. Fine. So this is from within the class. Okay, fine. So now I'm having a I'm making a call, okay, to my init method wherein I'm making v1 to be 11 and v2 to be 12. Okay, so now I'm making a call to the display method. How do I make? I'm saying o1 dot display. Okay, so when I make a call, let us execute this and see what will be the output. Within the class there is no problem. I was able to access the value of v1 and also I'm able to access the value of v2. There is no problem. Okay, so this is inside class, so we'll say private member. Okay, so I'll say inside class private v2 and this is public. Okay, fine. So I'm able to get the answer. Okay, so I'm able to get the answer from within the class. Now let me try to access these two variables from outside the class. Okay, so I'm writing something outside the class. Now how I'm accessing them, I have to access them through the object reference, so I cannot say self dot and all that. I can say o1 and this is o1, right? So I can access them only in this manner through object reference. So I'm saying outside class public and outside class private. Okay, so let us execute this and see whether we will be able to access it or not. So just take a look at the output, my everyone. So inside class public v1, I got 11. Okay, inside class private, I got 12. So from within inside the class, I'm able to access the public as well as the private member. There was no issue. Now coming to the outside class, what happened? I got this. Okay, so I said outside class public variable 11. I was able to access the public member from outside the class. But am I able to access the private member from outside the class?
No, ma'am.
No, right? I was not able to access the private member from outside the class. Okay, so this is the difference between public data members and the private data members. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. In the similar way, like I can also have private methods. So how do you declare the private methods? So say here, I'm making this display as private method. So what I'll do, I am just putting double underscore in front of display. As I have put a double underscore in front of this display, what happened to this display? Now this display has become a private method. Okay, so this display has become a private method, meaning that this display cannot be accessed from outside the class. It can have another method inside this class which will actually call this display method, then there won't be any problem. Okay, so I can also have another method. So I'm saying def and I'm saying d and self, and from within this I'm making the call to the um, display method. Okay, so I'm making a call to the display method. Okay, here I'll be making the so you can see that. Okay, so this I'll remove it. Okay, can you see, ma? Can you see the answer? So what is the answer? So what did I do? This display method, if I am calling it, say for example, I'm saying underscore underscore display. What will I get if I execute this? What will be the answer if I execute this? What will be the answer if I am executing this? Yes,
Error, ma'am.
I'll be getting an error. Okay, very
Yes.
good. So I'm getting an error. So it is saying that it's an attribute error, like you cannot access the private members. Okay, but can I access this private member inside the class? Yes, I can access.
Yes, ma'am.
How I'm accessing this display method, which is a private method, from another method, which is D. Okay, so now what I did is I am saying D, and now I'm executing it. Now I'm getting the answer. Okay, so D is a public method. So this is a public method. How you are able to distinguish between the public methods and the private methods? Because private methods will be having underscore underscore in the beginning. So public methods will not have this underscore underscore in the beginning. Okay, so that's how you distinguish them. Even that applies to the variables also. So V1 is public and V2 is private. How you are saying V2 is private? Because you are putting a symbol over here, which is underscore underscore in the beginning. Or in the similar way, for the methods also, this is private method and this is public method. And private methods cannot be accessed from outside the class. Okay, wherein I have shown you what will happen. I'm getting an error. Now within the class I can access. Now I'm making a call to the public member. So from the public member, I'm making a call to the private member within the class. Okay, so this is within the class. So D is also part of A. So that's why display method can be called from D. Okay, so these are private members and public members. So what all we have seen? We have seen that we have seen private members, private data members, public data members. In the data members, we have seen private variable, public variable, private method, and public method. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
also have covered one of the topic for you. Like from within the class, you can make a call from one class method can make a call to another method in the same class. Like how D and display, both these are the members of the same class. Say for example, this is not a private member. Say that it is a public member itself. Even for the restriction is not there for the public and private. As I have already shown you the private access, I'll show you the public access now. Okay, fine. So what I'm doing is, so we are having V1 and V2, right? So now I'll be having another method over here, which is add method. Okay, so this add method will actually add the methods, add the variables. Okay, so what we'll do here is I'm saying return. So I'll say return self dot v1 plus self dot v2. Okay, so I'm returning self dot v1 and self dot v2. Okay, so herein I'm saying print. So wherein I'm saying what we'll do is we'll print it here. So I'm saying print. Okay, I'll make a call to it. Okay, so I'm saying self dot add. I'm making a call to it. Okay, and this will be the display method. All right. Okay, so I make okay, fine. Simply printing so. Okay, ma. So you can see this. So inside from one method, I'm calling another method. So I have made a call to the display method. So this is a concept wherein calling class method. Okay, from another class method. Okay, so making a call from within. So here there are two methods, the display method and the add method. So add display method is calling the add method. From within the class, you can also access the members. One member can access the other members. So is this program clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So now let us look into another program. Okay. So what is this program? Calling global methods. Okay. So I'm having a global method inside a class. Okay. So we'll call a global method from within the class. So I have a method over here. So irrespective outside the class, which is a display method. Okay. So say I just have a display method wherein okay, so I have n here might be I'm saying print, okay, v1 comma n. Okay, so I'm printing with that. So inside the class I'm having an init method, and inside the init method I'm just having only one instance variable. Okay, then I'll make a call to the display method from the add method. Okay, so there is an add method wherein I'm saying self dot v1 plus is equal to, so increment it by 2. Okay, and I want to print this v1, okay, from outside the class. So I'll say I'll simply say display, and then I'll pass this self dot v1. Okay, fine. And here I need to make a call to add. Okay, fine. So there is only one value, so I'll be taking 10, so it should be printing 12 on the screen for me. Okay, fine. So this is the class which is global method, and this is a program wherein I'm having a global method display, and then I have a class over here. Inside the class I'm having the init method which is used for initialization, and then I have this add method. Inside the add method, what I did is I have incremented the value of v1 by 2. So initially it is 10, now it will become 12, and I'm calling the display method, which is a global display method, to print the value of v1, wherein I'm passing this v1 as an argument into this display. See the difference between the global functions and the methods over here. So this is a method and this is a function. So the functions do not have a self argument as the first argument, self as the first argument, but the methods which are part of a class will be having a self as the first argument. So that's the difference you can see. And how did I make a call to the function over here? I have simply called the function. Okay, I'm not referring it or I'm not giving a fully qualified name like before it. I'm not giving anything. But if I have to make a call to the method, so here you can see that I'm saying o1.add. The method cannot be called directly. I cannot make a call to this add method directly. I can only make a call to this add method with an object reference which is over. Any object reference by fact, any object that is pertaining to class A, I can actually call it only through the object name. So these are the differences between the function and the methods. And the global functions can be called inside the class methods. How do you call it? You can just make a call directly to it. Okay, so you can see that I have got an answer which is v1 is equal to 12, and this v1 12 is the answer that is printed by the display method, which is outside the class. So you can also make a call to a function, global function from within the class methods. Okay, so add is a class method which is making a call to the global method, global function. Is this clear, Ma, to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Now we'll see how to dynamically take certain values for the objects. So here I'm having class A. Are you following the programs, everyone in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, fine. So say I'm having a display method here inside the class. Okay. and say I'm having a print over here wherein I'm printing v1 dot v1. Okay, so I'm just printing it, and I also have another print statement which will be printing the value of new variable. So I'll dynamically give the variable. I'll show you that. Okay, self dot new underscore var. Okay, fine. Then I'm creating an object a of 10. Okay, a10 will be fine. And then I'm saying o1 dot, I'm saying new underscore var. Okay, and I'm saying is equal to, so I'm giving 20. Okay, fine. Now I'm making a print. Let me take this print. Okay, copy it here. Okay, and then now I'm printing the value of this new var. It should not be self. This should be o1. Okay, fine. And after that, I'm changing the value of o this new var. Okay. Um, what I'll do, I'll put it something in that 77. Okay, so then I'm taking this again and I'm trying to print and show you. Okay, fine. I didn't make a call to the display, kada? Okay, so I'll make a call to the display. Display. Okay, it should be o1 dot. Okay, o1 dot display. Now let me execute this program and show you. Okay, fine. So during the this is a class A. Okay, so let us try to understand what is there in class A. Inside class A, you're having this init method. Inside the init method, I just have initialized only one instance variable. Okay, so which is v1. But as you can see in the program, later on, you're having another instance variable, which is new var. Okay, so I have taken another new variable, which I have initialized outside the class. Even this is possible. Okay, so this is what you call that adding variables to a class at runtime. Okay, so this is a program wherein you're adding variables. Okay, so you're adding variables at a runtime. Okay, so at runtime. So what I'm doing is I'm adding the variables during this particular execution. There is no new var, but later on after the object creation, I'm adding one more variable to the class, which is new var, and I have given the value of this new var to be 20. And as I have printed, so this is the answer for this one. Okay, so 20 is printed. Later on, what I did is I dynamically changed the value of this var outside the class, not inside the init method. So I said o1 dot new var is equal to 77. So now 77 is assigned to new var, and this is what I have printed. So you, maybe let me put after change. Okay, so after change of new variable, so maybe it will be more clear. Okay, so I said after change of new variable, so I said 77 is printed because I have changed it during runtime. Okay, and after that, what I did, I have made a call to the display method. Inside the display method, I'm trying to print v1. I said self dot v1, so v1 is 10, which I have passed here. So v1 is assigned 10 over here, so v1 is equal to 10 is printed. And in the display itself, I have tried to access this new var using the self. Okay, meaning that it's a variable of the class. So the value is 77. So 77 is printed over here. So this is a program to demonstrate adding variables at runtime. You can also add variables at runtime. Is it clear? The topic is built-in functions. So Python has some built-in functions that can also be used to work with attributes. Okay, so let us look what are they. So the first one is like has attributes, which will be taking object and name as arguments in it. So what is the functionality of this has attribute is that it is used to check if the object has specified attribute or not. Let me show it in the program. Okay, so for example, okay, so let me be very specific, directly get into the program so that you will be able to understand. So here I have a class ma. So this is the class with the class name is A, and this is my init method wherein I just have one instance variable which is v1, and I have an assigned it, initialized it during object creation. So I said obj is equal to a of 10. So what is there in v1? So 10 is there in v1. Okay, fine. Now what I'm doing is I'm using this has attribute method, okay, function, which is a built-in function to check. Okay, so what I'm doing, check has attributes, whether the object is having certain attribute or not. So I'm saying has attribute obj. So the name of the object is obj. So I have passed this obj as the first argument. And then what I said, I have given the name of the instance variable. So v1 over here. Okay. Now, if this particular object is having an attribute which is v1, it will give me true. If it is not having, it will give me a false. For example, I have shown you even that also. So I said has attribute, this is object reference, and then I said v. So v is not an attribute of this particular object, right? So there is only one attribute which is v1. So there is only one instance variable which is v1. So there is no v over here in this particular assigned to this obj. So that's why I'm getting a false over here. So you has attribute is used to check if the object has specified attribute or not. We are checking it on the object. Fine. Okay, what are the attributes that it will be taking, parameters that it will be taking? It will be taking two parameters. The first one is the object and the second one is the name. Okay, so what is this name? This name will be the instance variable, okay, or the variables that we are, attributes that we are assigning to a particular object. In the similar way, like you're having get attributes. Okay, so this function is used to access or get the attributes of the object. So let us see how that is possible. Okay, fine. So now in the same program, so you can see I'm having get attribute. So I'm passing obj and v1. Okay, so get attribute will return the value. So what is the value associated with v1? So the value associated with v1 is 10. So I got 10 on the screen. Okay, fine. So in the second case, what I have done is I wanted to get the attribute value of v over here. Is there v associated with an object obj? No, right?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, v is not associated. So what will happen is in this case, I have given a -1 over here. It can be -1 or it can be a string also. Okay, so which will actually print on the screen saying that there is no v over here. Okay, so there is no v associated with the object. So it has given a -1 for me. I just this -1 is the value that I have put. నేను పెట్టిందండి -1. అలా కాకుండా మీరు ఏ ఎర్రర్ కోడ్ అయినా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. మీ ఇష్టం వచ్చిన కోడ్ మీరు పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. You can put whatever error code that you want over here. Even string is acceptable. Okay, so that string will be printed only if this attribute is not associated with the object. So since v1 is associated with the object obj, I got the value associated with it. Now v is not a value associated with obj. So whatever you give over here will be printed. So I have given -1. So -1 is printed. Okay, so sometimes -1 can be the value of v. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you that -1 is the value that I have given. So you can give it whatever you want. And then there is another built-in function which is set attribute. Okay, so set attribute will actually so let us take a look into the definition of set attribute. This function is used to set an attribute of an object with the given values. Okay, so it is like creating. If the attribute does not exist, then it would be created. Okay, fine. So we are creating an attribute. If the attribute is not present, it will create, else it will reset the value. So for example, I'm already having v1, which is already present. Okay, so now I'm setting the value of v1 to be 5000. Okay, so when I try to get the value of the attribute, 10 is overridden with 500. This 10 is overwritten. Okay, so with 5000, so I got 5000 on the screen. Okay, so in the next case, I said set attribute. I said obj comma v275. Now what is v2? v2 is the attribute name or the instance variable name, and there is no v2 over here in this particular class. We haven't created any. Now what will happen? It will create v2 and put 75 into it. Okay, so when I try to print it, so I got 70 the value of v2 is created. So I got 75 and all that new attribute v2 and it is created. Okay, so the next one is del attribute. Let us look into the definition of what is del attribute. This function deletes an attribute. Once deleted, the variable is no longer a class attribute or an object attribute. Okay, so it is just like del your object, right? In the similar way, you're having del attribute, wherein you can delete one of the attribute of the class. Okay, fine. And the values that this del attribute will be taking is the object and then v1. Okay, any object, any attribute name by fact. So here we are trying to give v1. So what happens is, in this is a debugging statement I have written to know whether it is deleted or not. So I said after v1 delete, so I say obj.v1. Now I'm getting a name error saying that so this error shows that v1 is successfully deleted from the class. So defined in the class, which can be worked with the variables that are defined in the class. What are they? The first one is the has attribute, the second one is get attribute, and the third one is set attribute, and the fourth one is del attribute. And this is the program associated with this particular built-in functions. Okay, so these are built-in functions. I want to highlight over here that these are built-in functions. Listen to the class very carefully, because there are two concepts over here. The first one is built-in functions and the second one is built-in class attributes. Don't confuse with this concept. Built-in anagane ఏర్పడితే అది రాయకండి. Okay, so built-in functions is different. So here there are four built-in functions: has attribute, get attribute, and set attribute, and del attribute. These are the four built-in functions that you can work with the attributes of a class. Now there is another concept wherein we are having built-in class attributes. The built-in class attributes are the dict, doc, name, module, and basis. All these are the five built-in class attributes. This is an essay question which can be asked for essay 10 marks or 15 marks, whatever. So this can be asked for that. Explain about the built-in attributes and the built-in functions. It can be asked separately or it can be asked together. Okay, so don't get confused with the built-in functions and built-in attributes. Don't get confused and